CN2 can run on any Kubernetes cluster on bare metal or on VMs, either locally or in the cloud. In this video, we'll set up CN2 on a Kubernetes cluster running on VMs networked together on a single server. We have 3 VMs for the cluster nodes and a 4th VM to run the installation. You don't really need to use an installation VM. You can instead use your own computer if it has connectivity to the cluster nodes. Bring up a console window and log into the installation host. Let's look at the installation VM. It has an interface into the 172.16.0.0/24 network. The default route is pointing to our gateway. The DNS configuration is pointing to our DNS server. We haven't set up NTP yet, so let's do it now. We'll install cron. After entering into edit mode, we can configure the cron file to point to our NTP server. We'll restart cron to ensure our NTP server has been included. Next, we'll install Docker. Docker provides a convenient way for us to copy our repository credentials later. Now we'll install Helm. Helm is needed when we install Contrail Analytics later. Now we'll install kubectl, the command line tool for Kubernetes. Finally, let's install the Python virtual environment where we'll run Python-dependent commands later. Okay, we finished preparing the installation VM. Now, let's look at the control plane node. Make sure the control plane node is running a kernel version that is supported by CN2. Here in the documentation, you can see what kernels are compatible with CN2. Also take note of the supported Kubernetes versions. We'll need to remember this version number when installing Kubernetes later in this demo. The node has an interface to the 172.16.0.0/24 network, and the default route points to our gateway. The DNS configuration is pointing to our DNS server. Ensure that the etcresolve.conf is linked as shown. As before, let's install and configure cron. Edit the cron file to include your NTP server. Restart cron and check that it's accessing our NTP server. Now let's repeat the node setup for the 2 worker nodes. Because the procedure is the same as the control plane node setup, we'll speed through the demo here. Great, we've finished preparing our worker nodes. Back on the installation VM, we'll create an SSH key and copy it to the cluster nodes so that the installation can use passwordless SSH logins. Copy the key and provide the login password when prompted. We'll do the same for worker nodes 1 and 2. We're now ready to install Kubernetes. There are many ways to install a basic Kubernetes cluster. In this demo, we'll use kubespray. Clone the kubespray, git repo. The kubespray directory contains a file that specifies the required packages we need to install. Before installing the packages, we'll create a virtual environment. Install the required packages. Now let's create the inventory file that describes our setup. Ensure the kube network plugin is set to CNI with the kube version 1.24.3, which we noted earlier in this video. Let's test basic connectivity using our inventory file. This ensures that we've set up the IP addresses correctly and that we've set up passwordless SSH login. The output shows that we've set up the inventory file correctly. Now, let's create the cluster. This will take a few minutes. Great, we've created our cluster. Let's copy the kube config. Confirm that the Kubernetes version is 1.24.3. Good. And list the pods. Note that some pods are not up. This is because we haven't installed CN2 yet. Now we're ready to set up CN2. First, let's create a directory where we'll put the CN2 manifests. Head over to the Juniper Network software download site and get the download URL for the Kubernetes deployment manifests. Read and agree to the terms and conditions, and then hit the Copy URL button. Once we have the URL, we can download the CN2 manifest directly onto the installation VM. Then untar and unzip. We'll use the single cluster deployer example YAML manifest. Let's add our login credentials to the manifest. We'll replace these with our credentials. Grab the credentials from the Docker login, encode them in base64, and then replace the base64 encoded credential string in the manifest with the resulting base64 encoded credentials. In a typical deployment, we would run pre-flight checks prior to installation to ensure the cluster is capable of running CN2, and post-flight checks after installation to confirm that we've installed CN2 properly. But for the sake of brevity, we'll skip those steps here. With the credentials configured, we can now install CN2. Be patient while the installation runs. Let's take a look at our pods. Great, all pods are running. Okay, we're almost done. As a final step, we'll install Contrail Analytics so we can use the CN2 web UI. Head over to the Juniper Network software download site and get the download URL for the Analytics deployer. Download the Analytics deployer. Install Analytics. Be patient while the Contrail Analytics completes the installation. Let's take a look at the Analytics pods. Good, we've successfully installed CN2 and Contrail Analytics on a Kubernetes cluster. You can now log into the CN2 web UI at the node IP address on port 30443. Make sure you're logging in from a browser that has access to the cluster node network. Check out our other videos on CN2 and the CN2 web UI.